Watching the story about Matthew Perry, the actor from Friends' death, and thinking immediately drugs. I mean, he struggled with alcohol abuse. He came out and said that. He was candid about it. But never in my life had I imagined that the way that he would die would be because the people that he trusted most, his doctors, his medical professionals, were the ones supplying him with said drugs. And it got me thinking about a topic that I really feel is a real problem in the medical field. And this is just an opinion. Doctors, when I think of a doctor, I think of someone who cares for people holistically, from inside out, right? Not just putting a Band-Aid on a problem, but healing the person, getting to the root cause of whatever it is making a person sick. Mental illness is an issue in this country because a lot of people are not getting the help they need. Some of them seek the help and they can't afford to get the help. Some of them, in the case of somebody like Matthew Perry, who's a famous actor, with the funds to get the acceptable help, has people around him that will never say the word no. And this is the problem. When I think of what those doctors are now facing, the doctor that supplied him, it says today, Dr. Plasencia was a primary target in treating Matthew Perry, but also supplying him with ketamine, which is a narcotic or a drug that, is what took him over the edge, and he died in that hot tub at his home. And I thought about it, what would have happened if Dr. Plasencia had just said no to Matthew Perry? I think he would still be alive if we had doctors that said no to these famous celebrities. But the medical field is riddled with thing I call treating the outward symptoms and not treating the person internally. Doctors spend a lot of their time going to school learning about medications. I mean, you see it here. On average, fewer than 25 hours across 4 years of medical school are dedicated to nutrition education. And it continues to say that the emphasis is on pharmaceuticals rather than nutrition. Don't even get me started on menopause. I think it's only they're required 8 hours or 4 hours. They're walking around like drug dealers, or street pharmacists. We'll call them street pharmacists. But you know what I'm saying is that when I think about it, their job is to prescribe nowadays. If you come in with an ailment, they tell you you just need this medication or that medication. And I truly believe that they feel like they were helping Matthew Perry, that a grown adult man in his 40s and 50s coerced or forced anyone into doing something that, he didn't want for himself. If Matthew Perry didn't get this prescription through a licensed doctor, he would have found it some other way. He would have gone to a street pharmacist, like I said. Some of you are gonna argue with me. You're gonna say, but he should be held accountable and lose his license because these people were giving him hardcore drugs and they knew the man was ill. Yeah, but technically he's an adult man that can make a decision for himself what he chooses to put in his body. You see where I'm going with this? I personally, and this is just my opinion, I don't feel medical doctors should be held liable if a person, especially someone, a public figure, a famous person like Matthew Perry, coerced him or made him feel like he had no other choice. Listen, I know this from firsthand accounts of people I've talked to that work in the medical field, that it can be trying on them when they have some famous person or someone in their community that has a lot of power to destroy their reputation or their credibility, and to say no to that person, what it can do to them as a brand. Matthew Perry could just walk out and say, don't go to that doctor, he's a horrible person. And next thing you know, that word of mouth goes around Hollywood and, the people are like, we're not gonna go to him. And this is really the sad part about this is your brand as a doctor is how agreeable you are with these people, especially if you're in Hollywood, anywhere in California, anywhere in New York, you're one of the top leading doctors. If you're that doctor that gives the patient everything they want, I mean, we see this in plastic surgery. We are always wondering, where's the code of ethics in that? What kind of doctor would mutilate and do this to someone? It should be the same question we're asking. What kind of doctor would do this to somebody and have no shame in it? Well, doctors that want to be agreeable and want other clients. That's who. Anyways, you guys drop your thoughts and comments. I think that Matthew Perry did everything to himself. I think he was a drug user and an alcoholic, and that is that. Case closed.